The opinions expressed in the video you are about to see are solely those of BoatTEST.com and its test captain.
Today I'm on the AR210 by Yamaha. Now the team at Yamaha tell me that they made this boat to create a 21-foot affordable package for the water sports enthusiast. I'm going to put it through a full test and performance review and see how they've done. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve.
Both the AR210 and its twin sister without the water sports tower, the SX210, have a length overall of 21 feet 4 inches, a beam of 8 feet 6 inches, and thanks to the jet drive, a draft of only 15 inches.
As we look underneath, we see that we've got the typical deep V with dual lifting strakes leading up to a reverse chine, but in this case on the AR210 the reverse chine comes forward and starts developing itself into a hard chine, sort of a spray rail. This should give us good turning performance and stability. The turning performance of the AR210 can only be described as exhilarating. As much as you want to crank and bank, the boat will be able to take it. In fact, if you turn the wheel hard over when you're at speed, it'll spin out and then take off in the other direction.
I also found that single engine performance was more than adequate for getting home. I was able to get on plane and even hold a cruise of 25 miles per hour on a single engine.
Because the line of thrust is in line with the transom rather than below the hull, you're going to find that there's very minimal bow rise. I found about 3 to 5 degrees, which means when you accelerate, you're not going to lose any visibility. Sitting down in the helm seat, I find that I'm looking right at the windshield frame, but of course, when you flip up the bolster, you're raised up enough and you can see right over. At the stern of the AR210, we've got a 20-degree dead rise. Looking at the jet pumps while we're in the neutral position, the thrust is deflected. As we go ahead to the first detent, the thrust is still deflected downward slightly, and that's a new feature from Yamaha. Our tests have shown that it gives you a little bit better low-speed maneuverability. And of course, when you bring the controls fully forward, there's no deflection whatsoever.
Of course, you have to remember that steering is directly related to thrust. At high RPM, you'll have brisk steering, and at low speed, not so much. But the new downward deflected thrust will help. You should also get into the habit of adding a bit of thrust when you want to add controllability to your hard turns at low speed. Crank the wheel over and add a burst of power. Turn to straighten out and toss in another burst.
I like the molded contour line that breaks up what would otherwise be just plain topsides. And notice how the 8-foot 6-inch beam is carried well forward, almost to this point. And this allows Yamaha to maximize the interior space as well as the bow space.
Now let's take a look at some of the features and layout.
Fully forward, we have an anchor locker with a 4-step reboarding ladder. That'll go all the way down to the beach when you put the boat up against the sand. Notice that you can lock the anchor in place. In the closed position, you have notches so that the anchor rod can run through with the hatch in the closed position. There's non-skid on the hatch cover itself and a step with non-skid so that you have a nice launching off platform for going into the water. Because Yamaha carries the beam so far forward, you've got so much space in this bow. 29 inches between the seat cushions. Not only is this a very comfortable bow area, but it's very versatile. Let's check out some of the things you can do. With the addition of a couple of filler cushions, you create a sun pad up in the bow. The forward one is able to move aft and create a forward-facing seat for 3 across seating. Between the consoles, 25.5 inches of space, and that's very convenient because Yamaha is able to maximize that space by putting the sole storage hatch almost all the way to the outsides of the console. With the 8.5-foot beam, you've got a very roomy cockpit with J seating, which makes it great for water sports because the observer will be sitting aft looking at the end of the tow line. Space between the seats is a nice and roomy 37 inches. And look at the height you've got keeping you protected. 28 inches, increasing as you move forward. At the helm, the captain gets a bucket seat that wraps around, swivels and slides, and has a flip-up bolster. The panel is nicely laid out. You've got 2 tachometers surrounding a speedometer. Embedded in both of the tachometers are multifunction gauges that allow you to switch through different parameters. The ignition's just below with the blower right next to the ignition where it belongs. Over on the other side, I'm happy to see that there's a stereo instead of a remote control. 12-volt power supply, MP3 port, and notice a nice little bin for storing stuff. The engine controls are mounted at about a 45-degree angle, which is comfortable if you're in the seated position, but up on the bolster, I find it more comfortable if you put your palm up to get it into gear and then bring your hand forward. Looking at the stern, you can see we have 3 across seating and no engine box, and there's a reason that Yamaha is able to do that.
with these low-profile 1052cc 4-stroke, 4-cylinder, non-marinized Yamaha engines.
And of course, no Yamaha would be complete without this very popular aft patio. 2 levels, one separated by the other by 10 inches. Both have rubber non-skid on them. There's a table base for the included table, a stereo remote, 2 drink holders in the corners. On the upper level, by lifting up the hatch, you'll have access to the clean-out ports. On those rare occasions when you run into grass and end up getting grass clogging up your impeller, all you need to do is reach down and clear it out without getting in the water. Because you're reaching into the port, once the hatch is open, 2 engine cutoff switches will activate to kill the engines for you as soon as the hatch is open. In the center of the lower swim platform is a 3-step reboarding ladder, and there are 2 grab handles to assist you in getting out of the water. But the feature that I like most is that this lower platform is so close to the water, it makes a great staging platform for water sports.
Tilt steering, dual bucket seats, snap-in carpeting, bimini top, a wakeboard tower on the AR version, stereo. This all probably makes you start wondering which of these features are on the options list. Well, the answer is none of them. Everything I have shown you is standard on the 210 series, including the color match painted trailer.
Well, my tests have shown we've got a very nice handling boat with a very nice layout. It's the AR210 by Yamaha. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.